What's up, world? It's your boy Tommy, man, and I came to just quickly speak on the whole situation with Jeremy Lin, right? Because at this point in my life, it's like I'm starting to recognize a pattern in this whole BS, right? So if you didn't know, Jeremy Lin came out yesterday and he started going on, put up a post talking about Asians are tired of being told we don't deal with racism and this, that, and the third, because this is the problem. He basically stated people call him deceptively athletic, and he said people call him deceptive athletic. And people say that he looks like other people, and and the last thing he ended on was someone called him coronavirus when he was on the court. Some other bullshit. Okay, let me stress this, and I can't stress this enough. Nobody deserves to be made fun of because of their race. No one should be made fun of because of their race. It's stupid, right? It's low-hanging fruit most of the time. But people do it. Some people do it through kidding. Now, there's a difference, right? If I can kid with you about something that's sensitive to you, then I will. If I can't, then I won't. How do I know I can and I can't? I can't when I can and when I can't. When I can't, you let me know. All right? Now, Jeremy Lin was a rich kid that went to Harvard. And then signed with the made the New York Knicks roster. I mean, this is the story of many more talented players than he was, who had to do this very same thing. Look at Patrick Beverley, for example. When you generally aren't a uber athletic player, you generally have to work harder. Problem with Jeremy Lin is he can't shoot and he can't guard anybody. So a lot of the people knew that it was only a matter of time before Jeremy Lin's situation ended up going on a downward spiral, because he's really just not that good. So he was in D'Antoni's system, and because of D'Antoni's system, he was able to play fast and do little things. Like but he was never a great player. He was just always just there. Jeremy Lin benefited off of his Asian heritage, meaning because he was Asian, he got more media attention. He got his contract in Houston, the same market that Yao Ming created, because he was Asian. Okay, so he is the wrong person. Now, I'm not saying all Asians have it easy as Jeremy Lin did, but you're playing a sport where the majority of people in it are predominantly black. Black people tend to be more athletic. So it's going to be a lot harder for you to excel in that sport when you, A, are not athletic, B, and he said he had a problem with people calling him deceptively athletic. Well, I'm sorry, you are. You aren't athletic, and you're not unathletic. You're barely athletic. So it's saying, like, people saying, like, you think he's more unathletic than he actually is, which is just the truth. And it has nothing to do with you being Asian. It's more about the fact that you are just not that athletic. So when you do something athletic, people are like, I didn't think he was that athletic. Nobody calls Caruso deceptively athletic. Nobody calls him that. People just call Alex Caruso athletic. They call people deceptively athletic because in a sport where where the majority of people are black, they are extremely athletic. So when you do something that you may have been considered athletic when you were in freaking youth league basketball, is not considered athletic in the NBA. So the fact that you can run straight or dribble a ball is not athletic. You have to be able to do things that are beyond the norm. I remember when I first got to my college, right? And they did a freaking I already knew my times were gonna be crazy. You know what I'm saying? Before I ever even went out to play on the team, I knew because I test myself. I used to test myself all the time. So I knew my 40 time was gonna be ridiculous. I knew my 40-inch vertical, my small shuttle, my 60-yard shuttle. I knew all those was gonna be crazy because I knew how to do them, and I had already been timed in it. So you know what I'm saying. So when I went out and people see me and they're like, "Wow, dude, you know, like, man, your athleticism is crazy." To me, it's like my athleticism wasn't crazy because I grew up around majority of African Americans. So I had to be fast because in order to be fast, I had to be beyond fast. I had to be faster than the people next to me. So it pushes you to be a lot more athletic than you. I mean, it pushes you to be more athletic than than normal because you're going against people who are athletic. When you tend to not grow up around African Americans, you tend to think your athleticism is good enough because you haven't met anyone who's more athletic. That's why a lot of times you'll see these guys who are great high school basketball players, and they'll get to the college level, and it's like, where the hell did these guys come from? Then they start to question whether or not they were ever really good. It's because of that. And that happens a lot with black people who grow up in predominantly white neighborhoods. They think they're way more athletic than they actually are, and then they'll go and they'll get to college. And we had this one kid who's a 5-star recruit. When he got here, and this is Florida, so I mean that shit is good up in Pennsylvania. He said he was a fast. His whole life he had been the fastest person on his team. He ran like a 4.5. He's like, here, I'm not even considered fast when I run a 4.5. That's considered slow. I'm like, yes. Up north, running a 4.5 is really fast. Down here, you got to be running a 4.3 or below to be considered fast. That's the difference in the dynamic. Jeremy Lin is not athletic. And I'm not just saying this is coming from a very athletic person. I know he's not athletic. He's not. It's not like he's jumping up dunking. I mean, he's 6'3" and can't dunk. He's not athletic. So the fact that he took offense to someone calling him deceptively athletic is a joke. And then he goes around and says, "Oh, well, you know, they call me coronavirus on the court." They called Charlie Villanueva, who has alopecia. They called him a cancer patient. They don't give a shit what they say. They call Michael Jordan called freaking Muggsy Bogues a midget every time he stepped on the court. This is the NBA. You know what I mean? Whatever they think's gonna get to you, they're gonna say that shit. And now that he brought it out, they're gonna say the shit probably more. Because at the end of the day, it ain't about them hating Asian people. They're just fucking with you. They're just trying to mess with you. And they think the fact that you're Asian works. You think that they look at a black person who's big and black and don't call them gorilla and stuff like that? They would say that. Them people nothing is off limits to black people when they're ripping and they're trying to get under your skin. Because they want to push you so that you can to see where you at. They're trying to see where it's almost like being in prison. They're gonna always test you to see how far they can go to see if you real or if you scary. So, but the point I'm trying to make is this whole Asian people being targeted, and then you got a guy who went to Harvard, freaking grew up rich, went to Harvard and got a contract based on his Asian heritage, came out here talking shit, talk about he's tired of people saying he doesn't have to deal with racism. Understand the difference what racism is, okay? Racism is not someone call me a bad name, okay? That's not racism. I know in this boring-ass, stupid-ass climate that we have, this crybaby climate we have in 2021 and 20, calling someone a name is racism. That's not racism, okay? That is a lazy use of the term. Racism is oppression, a group of people being systematically oppressed by the people in power based on their race, right? That's racism. Me calling you a name. They call fat kids names. They call gingers names. They call skinny people names. They call ugly people names. They call big head people. So his junk is all cosmetic. Or people say, the stuff they say about Asians, they're good at math. Everybody thinks I'm good at math. Who gives a shit? You know what I'm saying? Like that's not the same thing as what black people going through with COINTELPRO, freaking them putting drugs in the black community to fund the war. The freaking 13th Amendment, in which they're locking black people up so they can be legalized slaves. The freaking red line and they did to make sure black people couldn't own any property or businesses. All this shit. It's almost a slap in the face that you will equate that to someone calling you a bad name. That's not the same thing. And I know this is why I get so angry when black people co-sign bullshit. Okay? Someone calling you, saying that they don't agree with gay marriage is not the same thing as what black people went through. That's not the same thing. And black people kill me when they acknowledge this BS and try to act like they can't understand why people don't understand what gay people go through is the same thing. That's bullshit. They don't go through the same thing black people went through. I'm like, dude, seriously? Let me ask you a question. When a gay white dude goes home, is he going home to a poor black parent? Is he marrying a poor black kid? I mean, poor black man who's dealing with systematic oppression. No, he's not. He's a white dude, and he goes home to his white father, who more than likely is not gay, his white mother, and who more than likely has a position based off the fact that now we've considered women minorities. But guess what happens when you consider white women minorities? People gonna feel more comfortable hiring white people. And guess who they're gonna hire? They're gonna hire white men and white women. And now that quota is met because a white woman is considered the same thing as a black man, and that shit is crazy. Okay, so we need to understand the difference between what real oppression is and cosmetic oppression, okay? Cosmetic oppression sucks. It is annoying and leads to people committing suicide and all other things, so it should be addressed. But do not put that shit in the same same stratosphere as what black people go through in the systematic oppression black people had to deal with in this country, right? That's the problem I have with this old Jeremy Lin thing and this old narrative that the media keeps trying to push, that black people are being that Asian people and black people are Asian. We're tired of acting like racism doesn't exist. Yeah, trust me, Jeremy Lin. As an African American, I tell you that Asian people should understand racism exists. You should probably go talk to your mom and dad. Because I guarantee you they can teach you a whole lot of shit about racism and what it is to be black in America. Because they're probably the main people that are racist as shit. Right? Because Asian people are more racist than freaking Southern whites. They can't even put, they have a black lead, they can't even put them in Asian countries. You know why they can't put them in Asian countries? Because they will not watch them if they know there's a black lead in it. Now, these are the same people that black people help popularize their shit in America. Kung Fu movies and all that other shit, that shit got most of their buying seed was because black people supported them. So one of their biggest ends to stardom in America, black people help pave the way for them to do that, because black people used to buy old Kung Fu movies and all this other shit when they came out. To this day, they still do support shit like anime and all that other stuff. But at the end of the day, that's the problem. We're gonna always support other people. They never support us. Never support us. And then then right now, the Democrats do the same shit they always do. And this is why I tell people all the time, and I'm not trying to say, because I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, but the same way I call out Republicans, I damn sure gonna call out Democrats, because they do this shit every time. What they do is they wait until black people vote for them. Now they're on the hook, right? Because they need black people to be oppressed. Why? Because the next election season is gonna be around. And when the next election season comes around, they need their token bottom bitch, which is the black community, to vote for them. Right? So bottom bitch gotta stay bad, because you're not gonna help her clean her life up, because then she won't be a prostitute anymore. We can't prostitute her. So what we do? We gonna tell her we gonna it's like Dave Chappelle said, we're gonna beat the shit out of her, and then when when we need her, we gonna pat her on the back and tell her we love her. And that's exactly what they do every election season. Black people fall for it every time. And what they do, once they get on, now they gotta make an excuse for black people to stay oppressed, yet they don't want it to seem as if they're the perpetrators, they're the bad people. So what they do, they always create us as a villain. First, it was the Proposition 8 shit, over in California. The last time the Democrats came in, when they were saying they blamed black people, even though a larger number of the Latinos didn't vote for Proposition 8, and a large number of the largest number were white people, right? But they made it like black people were the villain in that situation. Oh, black people didn't vote for it surprised me that black people. So they pushed the narrative the first time with homosexuals, right? They got all these black people helped Barack Obama get elected, and they put all these homosexual agendas ahead of the black agenda. Didn't fix a damn thing with black people. Now Biden's coming around, and now that Biden's coming around, now they need another person to make black people bad, so that they can not help black people and still not look like they're not keeping their promise. So they take the focus, and now they're using Asians, saying black people doing Asians. So now they're doing all this shit for Asian people. Still ain't done a damn thing with black people. But that's all right, because we need black people to be oppressed, because if they're oppressed, we know we can get them to vote for us next time. Because why wouldn't they? Their life sucks. So we'll tell them, hey, your life sucks, and we're gonna promise to do this. They ain't gonna do a damn thing, we promise, but we're gonna promise to do this, we're gonna promise to do that, and then when the shit hits the man, we're gonna leave y'all out to dry and say, oh, black people are bad. See, now they're that's bullshit. The black people ain't oppressing no damn Asians. And Jeremy Lin has probably got way more props for being Asian than he ever did got criticism for being Asian or made fun of for being Asian. At least not in no hard-spirited way in which people try to make him feel bad about being Asians. Now, black people, we crack, we make jokes. That's what we do. But we're not doing the shit to be hateful or to make you feel like you shouldn't be proud of who you are. But anyways, I just said that shit because that just got on my last nerve. Please comment. Let me know what y'all think and subscribe. All right, y'all. Peace.